from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening and a very warm welcome to the National News on Rupavahini ChannelEye. I'm Lanka and the joining me is Clifford Richards. And these are the top stories which have made headlines for tonight. 18,000 children under 5 years of age face acute malnutrition. A 60-day plan made to prevent damages to cultivations by wild animals. It has been revealed that a considerable number of minor employees at the Colombo National Hospital is addicted to drugs. A former Galle magistrate sentenced to a rigorous imprisonment of 5 years. 4 new investment agreements bring $7 million to the country. Now for those and other stories in detail. Consultant Dr. Chitramali De Silva says that about 18,000 children under 5 years of age are suffering from acute malnutrition. She said that the percentage of malnutrition in children has increased in all districts except for Kilinochchi. Stunting is considered as a prevailing malnutrition condition. 9.2% of such children under 5 years have been identified. Stunting, which was 8.2%, has increased to 10.1%.
China became a hot topic at the parliamentary debate today. Tamil National Alliance parliamentarian Chanakyan Rasamanikkan responded to the recent remarks made by the Chinese embassy to a statement he made in Parliament last Wednesday. However, parliamentarian Dr. Harsha De Silva intervened and emphasized the importance of enhancing bilateral relations with all countries including China and India.
If the Chinese embassy and the Chinese government continuously not work towards the benefit of the Sri Lankan people, if the Chinese government and the embassy don't look after the interests of the people by restructuring this debt, I would like to warn the Chinese, there will be a China go home soon and I will lead it.
I don't think we should take a position as such to say that we will lead or somebody will lead a China go home. We have to work with all countries.
It's not a point of order.
I agree with you that we need to work with the Chinese and the Indians.
Honorable Harsha De Silva commented on a speech that was just made by my colleague.
But name.
So you allowed him. You allowed him to say that. It's on record. You can't allow one member to comment on a speech of another member in the opposition. That is Dr. Harsha De Silva's opinion. That has no relevance. He should not comment. He should not comment on the propriety of a speech made by another member. You are not the minister.
Okay.
You are another member in the opposition.
No, my name was mentioned. My name was mentioned. Chanakyan, honorable member, just I'll let you speak. Because my name was No, my name was mentioned.
Totally out of order. That is totally out of order. That is the point of order that I'm raising.
Dr. Harsha, you're entitled to your opinion. I express my views in this house. Now, the SJB or the JVP or the SLP or the SLFP might not want to get on the wrong side of China because you all probably want to come back into power, stay in power. But for us, we respect the country's citizens' values.
Former Galle magistrate D.S. Merinciarachi has been sentenced to 5-year rigorous imprisonment by the Colombo High Court today. She has been accused under the Public Properties Act for charging lesser fines for excise-related offences. Apart from that, the accused was imposed a fine of 22,500 rupees. She has evaded the court and the case was heard without her presence. Colombo High Court Judge Amal Ranaraja issued an open warrant and ordered today to arrest the accused and to produce her in court. The Attorney General filed the case accusing that an offence under the Public Property Act has been committed by noting a fine of 7,500 rupees as 1,500 rupees and another fine of 5,000 rupees as 1,500 for an excise case that took place on 4th and 5th April 2000. The High Court judge gave the sentence after deciding that the accusations have been proved without a doubt after a lengthy court hearing. Now, the public transport service should be efficient in order for a country to be developed.
Well, the efficient public transport service should not be a burden on the people. Many countries in the world maintain their public transport services for the convenience of the people. Due to a prevailing economic crisis, Asian and some European countries are also facing a severe difficulty. However, public transport services in those countries are not a burden on the people. Although there were plans by some countries, including France, UK and the US, to increase fares next year, they're trying to control the situation. It is to prevent further burden on the people amid the prevailing economic crisis.
Now, the cut-off marks for university entrance according to the results of the advanced level GCE examinations 2022-21 were released this afternoon. Chairman of the University Grants Commission, Senior Professor Sampath Amaratunga, said that cut-off marks for the university entrance were released within 2 months of issuing results. It will be possible to commence the new academic year soon. 3 years ago, only 30,000 students were admitted to the university, but 44,000 students will be admitted this year. Students can log on to www.ugc.ac.lk website and find the university course for which they have been selected. The Senior Citizens Society of Horana Angurwathota Remuna conducted a protest today at the Remuna Junction. They pointed out that renovations to Remuna Tank have not been completed even after more than 1 year.
Well, people in the area said that they are facing many problems when getting water for agriculture. On the 2nd of September last year, renovations to the Remuna tank were commenced. Although it was to be completed in 6 months, only 40% has been completed by today. Assistant Commissioner of Development of the Agrarian Development Department, J.H. Kasturaj, said that they have received a report about renovation malpractices from the Prime Minister's office and Kaluthara Agrarian Development Office. He said that Kaluthara Deputy Commissioner has been advised on the measures to be taken in future in this regard.
Now, a special program has been implemented for the security of foreign tourists who are visiting Alla tourism zone by the Alla Tourist Police. Tourists from Germany, Russia, India and Switzerland are visiting Alla at present. A program has been implemented to improve relations with the tourists. Owners of hotels and restaurants said there is no power cuts at present.
The committee stage debate on the budget 2023 is being held in Parliament. Expenditure accounts of the Ministries of Urban Development and Housing, Labour and Foreign Employment will be debated tomorrow. 48,491 million rupees have been allocated next year for the Ministry of Urban Development. 25,205 million were allocated last year for the ministry. 43,740 million rupees were allocated this year for the Ministry of Development projects. Under this, 2,670 housing units are scheduled to be built according to state and private partnership. 3,498 million rupees have been allocated for development projects in 9 provinces. 456 million rupees have been allocated to complete development projects which are nearing completion in the Colombo urban city limits. 11,788 million rupees have been allocated for urban revival projects. Under this, 1,431 houses will be built. 94 projects on coast conservation and coast resource management will commence. 2,101 million rupees have been allocated for the Ministry of Labour and Foreign Employment. 1,162 million rupees have been allocated for development projects. Steps have been taken to create a human resource with skills suitable for the labour market at present, and also many vocational training programs are being implemented to be followed after tertiary education. An information management system will be established for an active labour market.
The 4 new investment agreements were signed today, which will bring in more than $7 million to the country. The signing of agreements took place under the patronage of Investment Promotion Minister Thilum Amanugama and Chairman of the Board of Investment Raja Idrisuria. The agreements were signed to establish a factory to produce high-quality binding machines and vegetables and fruits processing for export. Among them are an agreement to develop software and to provide services for the export market and to construct a boutique hotel in Yala area.
Well, the government has paid its attention on using a part of the lands belonging to the Forest Conservation Department at Monaragala, Kotiagala and Kabilita area for cultivations under temporary basis. Attention was paid in this regard during a discussion at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday, which took place under the patronage of the heads of President's staff, Sagala Ratnayaka. About 8,000 hectares of land belonging to the Forest Conservation Department have been allocated for forest cultivation. It was decided to commence forest cultivations on 3,000 acres. Lengthy discussions took place on distribution of the remaining 5,000 hectares on temporary basis among farmers for cultivations until the preparation are made for forest cultivations. Attention was also paid on temporary release of some lands for cattle feeding. Mr. Sagala Ratnayaka instructed the Wildlife Department to get the advice of the Attorney General to solve legal issues and instructed all heads of line organizations to give their assistance to the measures. Well, Sri Lanka Army's electrical and mechanical engineers have created an international standard bag which can carry documents of the President.
The Army Commander Lieutenant General Vikram Liyanage presented it to President Ranil Wickremesinghe at the Presidential Secretariat this morning. It is a tradition for world leaders to use a special bag to carry important and confidential documents when they are touring. The President entrusted Sri Lanka Army with creating a bag according to international standards. It was created according to the criteria given by the Presidential Secretariat. The President instructed relevant officials that it should be made to be used by another President after the present President. Accordingly, a high-quality bag has been created with planning and security. A large number of letters are sent to the Presidential Secretariat daily by the ministries to get the President's signature. The President pointed out that all ministries can use such a bag to minimize expenditure for containers to carry documents. President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that the Army can produce such bags. The President appreciated all those who contributed to the creation. The President's head of staff, Sagala Ratnayaka, was present on the occasion.
Wildlife officials have taken steps to save a wild elephant caught in a wire trap set up at a place in Somavati National Wildlife Park, and it is reported that they conducted an operation for about 3 hours to save the elephant. The wild elephant has been caught in this trap set up by hunters in the Somavati National Wildlife Park. Girutale wildlife officials took steps to save the elephant. In an earlier occasion as well, a leg of a 15-year-old elephant was injured due to the wire trap.
Now, Handloom Textiles Trade Fair and Exhibition commenced today at the Sirimava Exhibition Hall of the BMICH in Colombo. The exhibition will be held for 3 days. Meanwhile, National Handloom Textiles Award ceremony took place at the Katubadda Textiles Department. The winners were presented with gold, silver and bronze medals. Prizes were given to the winners of 21 events. Awards were also presented for the children of those who are engaged in the handloom textiles industry. Secretary to the Ministry of Industries, Tilakage Sundara, was present on the occasion. That's all the news we have from home. Stay tuned for international stories coming up next.
இனிய மாலை இசை வரவேற்பு இரவின் அழைப்பு மியூசிக் கஃபே சகவாழ்வின் சஞ்சாரம் ஞாயிறு மாலை 6:30க்கு நேத்ரா டிவியில்.
Welcome back. On foreign news, US President Joe Biden has said he would be ready to meet Russia's Vladimir Putin if in fact there is an interest in him deciding that it's looking for a way to end the war. Addressing reporters alongside French President Emmanuel Macron, he stressed Russian President Putin had not yet done that. The two presidents stressed they would continue to stand against Russia war. In response, the Kremlin said President Putin remained open to talk aimed to ensure their interests. However, spokesman Dmitry Peskov told that Moscow was certainly not ready to accept US conditions. He said that it is complicated, the search for a mutual basis for talks, and the US did not recognize the new territories in Ukraine, which Russia illegally claimed as its own at the end of September. President Macron made clear that he had agreed with US President Biden that they would never urge the Ukrainians to make a compromise that will not be acceptable for them.
The US and its allies and the Asian allies have imposed sanctions on 3 North Korean senior officials associated with the country's recent missile tests. North Korea launched a record number of ballistic missiles, more than 60 this year, and tested several intercontinental ballistic missiles. Jong-il, Ho, Yoo-jin and Kim So-jil allegedly played major roles in developing the weapons. Japan, South Korea and the EU have also imposed sanctions. North Korea has faced tough sanctions imposed by Western countries for years. Under these new sanctions, all US-based assets of the North Korean officials will be frozen. They will be barred from any transactions with any business or individual in the US. Well, moving on, the uncrewed Orion spacecraft successfully completed a lunar departure burn yesterday to begin heading home after the successful moon orbits. NASA said that the burn began at 4:54 p.m. and lasted just under 2 minutes. The spacecraft's solar panels could be seen gently rocking back and forth on NASA television's live broadcast as a tiny Earth glowed in the background. Orion now begins its 10-day trek home. If all goes well according to plan, the capsule will splash down in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of California on the 11th of December, and NASA and its United States Navy have already begun training for the recovery operation that will mark the end of the Artemis 1 mission.
Welcome back on your sports update on the FIFA update. Now, several strong teams as Germany and Belgium lost their World Cup dream, this time when they Tomorrow at 8:50 p.m. for the very latest on Channel Eye. I'm Dilanjali, together with Clifford, signing off. Good night.
Good night.